So, at last, the Cleveland murderer, the Cleveland shooter, Steve Stevens, has been found dead in a car after a pursuit with the Pennsylvania police. He was found in Erie, Pennsylvania. That's only 100 miles from Cleveland. He supposedly shot himself after a 2-mile pursuit. It was a traffic pursuit as well. So they didn't even know that it was him. They're making it seem like they were just going to pull him over. Which fits in with the story of the authorities saying that they didn't want him dead, they wanted him alive. He supposedly shot himself with the pistol that he shot the 70-year-old Robert Godwin? Was that his name? I think that is. And I just want to explain something to you guys. These shooters usually never get found alive. They usually either get shot or they kill themselves. And it throws me for a loop that this guy, I pulled up the map just so you could see it, Cleveland, Ohio to Erie, Pennsylvania. So he drove along the 90 basically the entire way when he was on Facebook posting his videos and on live. You can get a train ticket for $16 to Erie from Cleveland. I just... Listen, I have a hard time believing that they couldn't have found him before that. Couldn't have found him. Because look at this fucking stretch of road, okay? You go straight, you take a fucking right, you get on the turnpike, you get on the 90, you get off, you turn left. I mean, it's just... It's fucking insanity that people truly believe this story as a fact. That this guy was a wanted nationwide shooter. And he drove for an hour and 40 minutes in 2 days. I want to know where he was. I want to see his credit card information, what he purchased at the time. I want to see it. 103 miles is how far he drove in 2 days. When there was a nationwide search for this guy. I mean, he barely went over the state border. He barely left Ohio. Barely. And he was found 2 days later. Listen, man. I'm all for everybody saying that he killed that guy, because I think he did. I think he did kill that guy. The video looks fake as fuck to me. I don't know what this guy... maybe he's a part of the CIA in some form of fashion that we don't know about. Maybe he's an undercover operative just trying to create a story. Or maybe he was just a guy who shot somebody and the police did not want to find him because it creates a story. That could be a possibility. That could be a legitimate possibility that that's what occurred. And I've been talking to multiple people, and most people find this shit kind of funky. That this story is a little bit strange, that how did they not catch this guy in time, etc., etc. It just throws me for a loop that this guy drove an hour and 40 minutes in a car and only went at 100 miles, and they couldn't find him before then. And also, to make this story even more juicy, he shoots himself. I have a hard time believing that they took this long to find him. That they supposedly did all they could do to try to find him, and they didn't get him until he shot himself in a traffic pursuit. A traffic pursuit. He was caught. He went to a McDonald's, and they were going to pull him over and get him, and he shot himself. There's something odd about that. There's something very, very weird about this situation. I don't even know what the fuck is going on. I don't know if he was somebody a part of the CIA. I don't know, excuse me, if he was you know, told to do this shit. I don't know what the fuck happened. But I do know this. Considering how connected our phones are to everything, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, GPS tracking on your phone, the NSA, the CIA being, you know, within your fucking Alexa, Amazon fucking, you know, speakers. You can ask Siri a question and they'll tell you where you are exactly. You know, I do not buy this whole story. I don't know what is fishy about it. I don't know how this situation could end. You know, the way that it was, you know, told that he was just some guy that committed an act of aggression by killing an innocent man for no reason. And then he just drives an hour and 40 minutes and then gets, you know, he shoots himself in a traffic pursuit. It really does bother me that people can be this fucking ignorant. They can be so worried about the government tracking them through their phones, through their Facebook, with the NSA and Facebook. Knowing all that we know about Edward Snowden and what he explained after he went rogue in the NSA, when he, you know, he basically told everybody that, hey, listen, they're listening to everything you say, and we can see everything you're doing. So why couldn't they find this guy sooner? And I want to know where he was in those 48 hours, and I want to know where he stayed, because considering how mainstream news this is, everybody on the television was talking about this guy, everybody was writing news articles. I mean, NBC News, the New York Times, pretty much everybody. Everybody was writing about this shit. Anybody you can think of was writing articles about him. He was front page news for 2 days. He drives an hour away from Cleveland and then just fucking shoots himself. And everybody thinks that this is okay. That this situation was totally 100% done correctly, and not only that, that it wasn't fishy. It just blows my mind that people can be this ignorant when it comes to situations like these, because this screams red flag somewhere. Either the police are just fucked, or he was some sort of agent, or that the police didn't want to find him. That they didn't want him captured. There is a woman that you can look up right now. You can hear her quotes. I'll do it for you. I'll show you the video of it where she's basically explaining, you know, her position.
Would never be able to handle a life sentence or anything. And then they've said other things that are really crazy. They do crazy things to the people while they're incarcerated. I'd never be able to handle it, so I'm going for the death. I have to, because they're too evil. They're too evil to people incarcerated. And they're too evil on the cases. They're so corrupt. It's not funny. So I've got to go down. I have to. That's why I can't say nothing about self-defense on tape or anything.
I'm all right with it, but like I said, remember, let them know that I know that the cops knew who I was. After Richard Mallory died, I left prints everywhere, and they covered it up. And let me kill the rest of those guys to turn me into a serial killer. I know they did, because I was no professional serial killer or anything, or murderer, or whatever you want to call it, you know. I wasn't professional at what I was doing.
Eileen,
I did some sloppy work, you know, and I left
how have you...
They're trying to make it look like I was crazy at all times, rig up the room with torture. If I said anything about I think their whole plan was trying to make it look like I was totally crazy, and so nobody would believe anything I had to say about anything, and then drive me there if they could. I suffered so bad. I was really struggling to survive. Had a lot of trays that were attempted murder and everything. I had to wash all my food off. And then one day I didn't wash my food off and I was sick for 3 weeks, almost died. My only interview concerns are about cops letting me kill.
What more is there to say about the cops? What more do you want to say about the cops?
A lot of stuff. Did you know that they were surveilling me before I killed? And then I knew it? And that it was covered up?
So
I was a hitchhiking hooker.
Right.
Running into trouble. I shoot the guy if I ran into trouble. Physical trouble. The cops knew it. When the physical trouble came along, let her clean the streets.
She would claim that these men would, try to attack her and kill her, and she'd kill them first. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know what happened. There was a lot of shadiness behind it, but for the first of many years, she was going through her trials and all that. She would basically say that I'm innocent. I killed these men out of self-defense. I shouldn't be getting the death penalty, blah, blah, blah. But later on, she would, be on her 9th trial. Jeb Bush would be pushing back her execution over and over again, and she basically said, hey, I want to be executed, I did this. But when the cameras were off, and she didn't know that the cameras were on, or that the microphones were on, capturing what she was saying, she would basically be like, I need to go down for this, because I know I'm never going to get off of, death row, and I know that the police knew that I was killing these people, and they wanted to create a story out of this situation. Because then they made that movie, and it made a lot of money. The story of Aileen Wuornos. People will undoubtedly make a story about this guy. 48 hours, only went 100 miles. The police somehow didn't find him before then, even though they said that they searched the area previously and that it was a very, very thorough search, and they just happened to run across this guy 2 days later after 100 miles. Something's wrong here. Something is wrong here, and it has a stench of fuckery on it. And if you cannot see that, and if you will not accept the fact that this does not make any sense whatsoever, you are lying to yourself, and you are 100% naive to whatever happened here. People need to get more facts before they try to put this story together, because obviously I'm throwing out some wild shit, and I have absolutely no basis for any of these claims. I'm just telling you that I think this is fishy, and until we get more facts about his, last 48 hours on this planet alive, then I don't know how we're going to piece this together to try to understand what happened here. But either this was a man who just went out on an act of aggression, lost his shit, and then just started killing people, because he said he killed 13 people, okay? Said he killed 13 people, okay? And then also, the FBI doesn't do their job. Doesn't do their job by pinging his cell phone, by calling the cell phone companies to try to find out where he was. He had 2 devices on him also. He was streaming live on Facebook. Facebook can track that IP right to his phone. They can track anything that they want from him. He must have had a decent phone, too. Because, he would be going down the highway, and his connection was pretty decent. It never cut out. Also, the fact that the cops were tracking him this whole time. They were in Indiana, they were in Pennsylvania, they were in Ohio. Basically, the northeastern part of the United States was being looked thoroughly through, supposedly, by these authorities. But somehow he just slipped by them on the highway, on the 90, from Ohio to, Erie, Pennsylvania, and they just didn't see him for 48 hours. Or we can accept maybe the possibility that the police were not trying to find him, that the FBI was not trying to find him, and he had some other shady instance of something. Because the video looked fake. It looked fake. I'm sorry. It looked so fake, and I don't know if that guy is truly dead or not. I have no idea. I have no idea. None. I have no clue. You know, the video looked fake. The procedures seemed fucked beyond belief. Because if you allow somebody who you know is dangerous and who is claiming he killed 13 people, you do your damnedest to catch that bastard. You do your damnedest. And it just seems like these guys didn't do shit. They didn't do anything to try to catch this guy. And that is strange. This whole situation is strange, and we need the facts out of these bastards. You need to tell us, whoever the hell is supposedly running this shindig now, if it's the Cleveland Police Department, if it's the Erie Police Department, if it's the FBI, we need to know where this guy was. And if you don't tell us, it's going to look even worse. I want to know where he was in those 48 hours. I want to know where he stopped. I want to know his credit card information. I want to see his pay stubs. I want to know who he's being paid by. I want to know all of that. Because if not, this is going to look so bad for not only the Cleveland Police Department, but also the Federal Bureau of fucking Investigation. It's going to look so bad. Please, I hope to fuck that this wasn't fake. I actually do. I hope to God it wasn't fake. I really do. I mean that. But at this moment, it looks like the police were involved and this guy possibly faked a murder and then ended up shooting himself. Whether or not that guy actually died, I have no idea. They're saying that he did. There's quotes from his wife talking about their children, which he's 74, so how old is this woman? I'm assuming that they're talking about grandchildren. You know, it's just so, this whole situation is so strange. And it's interesting that he ended up fucking dead in a city named Erie, because this whole situation is eerie.